If news from the federal government can be relied on, the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU may soon end. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, is set to convene a meeting aimed at resolving issues surrounding the strike. Meanwhile, the registrar of the Joint Admissions Matriculation Board, JAMB, Professor Isiaq Oloyede, said the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System, IPPIS, is unsuitable for the Nigerian university system. He says ASUU has a point on that. You know, we've been saying this before, that ASUU had to devise their own, the UTAS, and that's the kind of work they do. Lecturers, quite flexible. It's not, you can't rank them with other civil servants that they want to use IPPIS for.
I am particularly delighted that someone like
Isiaq
Oloyede
has been in the system,
who was never a fan of ASUU, who mobilized the workforce in his school, the University of Ilorin, to not even take part in ASUU strike. We are seeing him talking in this manner. That means he's saying nothing
but the truth,
but the absolute truth.
Will be objective.
Yes, he was never their fan, and they were never his fan. Uniloni was not taking part in ASUU strike. Yes,
they don't.
For years, you know. So everyone knows that within the university system there's need for flexibility. A lot of our professors today are products of training abroad, by way of sabbatical, by way of residency and all that. If you now say, oh, everyone must be enrolled on IPPIS, IPPIS doesn't offer that flexibility. As far as IPPIS is concerned, you are a staff of one university, and that's the only way.
No,
you cannot be paid elsewhere else. You can't be paid elsewhere else. And when this thing happened, you know, lecturers were, in my view, unceremoniously enrolled on IPPIS. It's like you just railroaded everyone, you put them there. When they complained, you then said, okay, try a homegrown system, because this is IPPIS is a World Bank payment platform. You said, try your own homegrown system. They devised the UTAS. The UTAS was assessed by federal authorities or federal agencies, and then passed fit, passed good enough. But after that, you started vacillating. You do not want to.
Is that not zero motive? Why?
They just want everybody
to go through that and see that the one they've designed for themselves.
You are the one who said, okay, if you say you don't want this,
come up with an alternative.
They ASUU spent more than 30 million designing this UTAS, a homegrown system against the one that the World Bank gave us.
You have more options.
You now said no. You have been reluctant to accept. Now, this strike ordinarily would not have happened. You and I know that the strike was was suspended. I don't want to say called off, because it was not called off. It was suspended in December 2020. And since that time, this issue has been on. You signed a memorandum of action, which you have refused to implement. Why do you get into agreements that you know in your heart that you are not prepared to implement? Although it's good news to hear the minister say he's going to talk to them, because you asked me that question the last time we discussed. You said, what is the solution? I said the solution was for him to call ASUU. He shouldn't agonize. Call ASUU to another meeting. Now, the ASUU guys are saying that up till now, there is no official invitation extended to them for a meeting. But they are all...
They're incommunicado. I couldn't reach them.
No, see, everyone knows that that's not true. They are in Abuja now. What ASUU and the labor leaders usually do is, when there is a strike, they relocate from their bases to Abuja, because they know there could be a meeting anytime. You know, some of those meetings are even midnight meetings. There could be a meeting, there could be an emergency. So once they are in Abuja, they are ready to meet. So as we speak now, they are in Abuja, awaiting the formal invitation
So why the politics?
Because once, no, I don't know what the delay is all about, but we want the best for our children. And people who have trained children of these people in government, they too deserve a good deal. It's not, a teacher should get his reward on earth. It is only in Nigeria that we do not treat teachers fairly. Elsewhere, teachers are rated far better than bankers and other people. In our country, we think that teachers are the dregs. They never do well. They are the people that we should not even afford our, give our attention to. It is wrong. People who train other children and give them the knowledge that they need to be useful to themselves in life, to become millionaires, to become entrepreneurs, to become employers of labor, they too deserve a better deal from a country like this. This is why I support ASUU, and I have no regret. I have no regret, because my own parents were teachers. So teachers deserve a better deal. If politicians are getting by enjoying our country the way it is, the way they are, so who says teachers are the people who should not enjoy?
With O-level specification.
Yeah, no, some don't even have ordinary NEPA bill as advocates. Some don't have anything.
Sam, when you look at it now, the effect is to be telling on the education system. You know, the call up for NYC, the mobilization, you can't just project that, 4 years. So the effect is in the public schools, state universities, federal universities, people will start avoiding it to migrate to these private schools.
I like the fact that you are making reference to numbers, and that's very important. I think we joke a lot as a people. It's only in Nigeria that a minister will tell you that he's looking for members or leaders of a trade union. The last time I checked, in the last 20 years, between 1999 and 2020, Nigerian lecturers had been on strike for 50 months.
50 months?
Yes. That means that in every 5 years, teachers are on strike for 1 year.
What are the statistics?
If the government pretends not to know, they can go and cross-check the facts. It just tells you how bad it is. Now you're talking about call-up. The last time I also checked, 75% of Nigerian students who are meant to graduate, 75% of them graduate far beyond when they're supposed to leave the tertiary, the university system.
Yeah.
It just tells you how bad it is. So if any government is serious, they should be looking at the figures. It doesn't bode well at all. So I think we joke a lot. If a minister suggests to you that the reason he couldn't be part of meetings was because he was indisposed and was abroad, doesn't he have a deputy?
Or Minister of State.
Why would the system shut down? Because the substantive minister is away. So these are critical questions, and we have to be honest to ourselves as a people. Our education system is collapsing.
Babajide, now when we start, after this phase of 1 month, should the federal government even wait for this 1 month warning strike to elapse before meeting their demand?
They should not even wait for 1 day. The notice was long enough. The strike was suspended in December 2000. We've had enough time to implement the memorandum of action. So we are talking about more than 1 year after that memorandum of action was signed. And there's no progress in the real sense of the word, because the demands that have been met have to do with visitation panel. ASUU asked for visitation panels for universities. The government has met that. ASUU also talked about even its wages that are outstanding. Government has done something along that line. But the issue of renegotiation of the wages of university lecturers and the enrollment from IPPIS are the two outstanding issues that they even want resolved. They are prepared to call off the strike if those two demands are met. If somebody comes to you, he has no less than 8, 9 demands, and he says, okay, just take 2 out of this, do 2 out of this, and we will have peace. It's the same situation that we face with the doctors. The doctors insisted on strike. They remained on strike until we called them and said, okay, the issue of hazard allowance, we are going to increase, and today those doctors are back at work. It appears like the only language that government understands is the language of strike. So. Strike naturally should be the last resort. But we have even abused it here. And I still think that even in terms of our labor laws, we are way behind South Africa when it comes to taking care of the interest of the worker. Some of the things that workers even tolerate in Nigeria, nobody can try it with them in South Africa. Nobody. I've seen here at ShopRite, people, they said that they were tired of casualization and being made to work every day of the week. And the next thing, because they were protesting, you brought soldiers, you brought policemen and chased them away. Nobody can try that in South Africa. Nobody can try that. This same grocery chain, I was in South Africa in 2005 when workers went on strike there. They had to sit and negotiate with them. But in our own case, because our system is loose and we are very weak, our labor ordinance is weak in our country, the next thing you brought policemen, you chased them away, and you brought in other people. Are ready to bring in other people.
Immediately.
Yes, because there's so much unemployment, yes.
Those ones are ready to
people on their own.
With any condition.
Yes.
Work 7 times.
In our country, people can afford to not pay workers for 8, 9 months, including even our own media environment.
Yes.
You leave people, leave their salaries unpaid for 8, 9 months. You do not see anything. You do not see anything wrong about that. You tell them to go and fend for themselves. If they like, they can steal your money. They can convert advert money to their salary. You don't mind. But you cannot try that in South Africa. Somebody tried to do it.
Yes.
He came back with tomatoes on his face. You can't do that. Labor laws over there. No, you don't mess with them. That is the strike capital of the world. South Africa is the strike capital of the world. At the slightest provocation, they are ready to go on strike. And you must bow to their demands.
Sam, when we look at even the remuneration of these lecturers, Professor, $500,000, less than $500,000, and a lot of people will look at it compared to that senator seated in the National Assembly or other House of Rep member with his fat allowances, that is not even encouraging to go into the education sector.
I don't think we should even start comparing, so that we don't remind ourselves of the, huge sums that our senators or our lawmakers, have openly, acknowledged that they take home, on a regular basis. It's what the pittance that lecturers get paid is a reflection of how serious or unserious, we take, education in the country. We just don't take it serious. Earlier I've alluded to, how we make light of everything, especially as it concerns, what we do to acquire knowledge. And we forget that today's world is about the knowledge economy. And we don't take it serious. And probably that's because, even those who are lucky to find themselves in positions of authority are not there because of capacity. All right? They're not there because of competence. They're there because they're just lucky to be there. And maybe that explains why we are not taking ourselves serious. So, Ayo, there are integrity gaps all over the place. And that is why, our lecturers are insisting that certain things must be done and done correctly. I mean, Jide talked about the visitation panel. What the teachers are asking for is the white paper, release of the white paper. The last time I checked, the report of the visitation panel was passed on to the Minister of Education in August last year. How unserious can we be? And then the panels to consider the reports were just put together last week, and the minister wants us to celebrate. It just shows that we are not serious about these things. Jide also said, talked about how much lecturers earn elsewhere. I don't have the figures, but you and I know that other countries of the world, the teaching profession is accorded very high, very high.
Yes.
It occupies a very high place in the order of things.
A professor of 10 years standing.
I mean, you
does not end
probably
up to
500,000 naira,
400,000 something,
which is what probably one programmer somewhere takes home at the end of the month because of the knowledge he has. So we've got to take ourselves serious, and that is why we are losing. There's brain drain in the country. A lot of people, a lot of the lecturers who ordinarily should be back here, educating the young ones, are living in troves because they are going over to where they are appreciated, and we're going to live with that for a very long time. The standard is falling in most places. You go to universities, the faculties are almost empty, and that is because you don't even have the requisite. We don't have people with the requisite qualification to teach in those places. You find some schools managing master's degree holders as lecturers.
In the past, that foreign lecturers used to even come here to teach.
Yes,
of course,
but not anymore.
Cook. Anybody who belong to my generation and who went to University of Ilorin will remember some of our European teachers teaching modern European languages.
Find them nowadays.
Who to come and
what
do
are they
what?
coming to do?
With the IPPIS,
the salary is poor.
With the IPPIS thing, how will somebody come here, earn a salary, and then just go? No,
before we leave this topic, let's look at the proliferation of even the schools. Now it's like a trendy thing that all states,
a political gimmick.
They want to have universities, federal universities across 36 states.
Yes.
Want to have it in
and you can't fund them properly.
And we cannot fund them.
State universities, they are even complaining. The complaint of ASUU is mainly about state universities. When doctors went on strike the other day, they were complaining about doctors not being paid for up to 5 months or more in one state university in the east, the southeast.
Yes.
Because it's part of what we're talking about. You want to build state universities, but the funding, you don't have the funding. So standard is falling, and what universities are doing to make money is simply now to be giving people honorary doctorate and all that. Now we've gone to the ridiculous extent of even giving honorary professorship, something unheard of. So if I have tons of cash now, I can suddenly become a honorary professor.
Without being a teacher.
You can get it in weeks.
Without being a university
you can get it in weeks.
So this is the thing. Because they need money, they need that funding. That funding gap. It's not every university that can be like Unilag. That because of his his alumni is a very remarkable one.
Yeah.
They're able to attract funding from
all
all
multinationals.
parts. Yes. Even some
And
of them
alumni.
on their own.
Yes.
Yeah,
Even some of those, yes, the distinguished ones among them can say, okay, we are building this hostel, we are building this, freshen up infrastructure in their school. Other universities don't have, a state university, how many of them have the kind of distinguished alumni of Unilag, for example? It even takes years to get to that level. When are they going to get to that level? So the funding that Unilag has access to especially under the current VC, other universities simply don't have it. That is a fact. So how do you run the university? by selling doctorate to crooked politicians and other people. Oh, no.